On this episode of Whiskermen's podcast, Beards in Business, in the Beard section, we revisit the book and a new edition. While over in the business section, we have an interview with Heather from Heather's Gourmet Caramel Apples. Hey, what's up, guys? Hope everyone had an amazing 4th of July and was safe and had a great start to the summer. So today, in the Beard section, we're going to be talking about the book. I believe we talked about it on previous episodes, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper because we did something different. And I want to make sure that everyone's aware of the book and why this book exists. So the newest thing is the book is now available in digital formats. You go on the website, you click download, you get a download link, you're able to download it, and then you're able to read it as an EPUB. So that's the newest thing that we did. So the book is now available digital. It is available in paperback. You can get it through us either in person on the website and then have an actual physical copy. If you buy it in person and would like me to autograph it, I'm more than open to do that. It's kind of humbling when folks ask for that. So the book is out there. Why am I talking about the book? One, because I wrote the book specifically for men to understand without having to feel dumb and ask for questions. So there's lots of pictures. I make it very simple, almost step by step, how to do your beard care, as we've been laying out in the first part of the videos early on. So I wrote it to where it's built to where it's a good read for folks that want to know more about facial hair, but it's also built and designed to be almost a go back to of if you're not sure of something, you can go to it, as well as our social media. I want you guys to be able to reach out and say, hey, I'm not sure about this. I've had folks that have been saying, hey, I can't find a Barbara. Do you know anyone? So we've been looking for that. So if you happen to know stuff or have questions, reach out to us. We want this to be a family community where you can reach out. So the book is something that I spent some good time in looking and researching to make it the best for you guys out there. And even I made it even to where ladies can read it, because if you're interested in making sure your man has the best beard care, that's the best place to do it, is to educate yourself and then kind of drop these little hints. So the book, not a whole lot. I believe it's 10, maybe 11 chapters. Real easy read. You can go section by section, break it up and learn a little bit here, a little bit there. The one that I did enjoy the most was the history section, because there was so much from the beginning of time, with why cavemen had beards all the way up through the new post-COVID world that we're living in. So guys, go ahead and grab that book, whether it's a physical copy or a digital download. Go grab that. We'll post the links right here. And you can always find us. If you go to our website, you can always see where we're going to be so that you can pick it up in person. So want to keep this nice, short, and sweet, because I know a lot of people are probably still partying with a nice weekend coming off 4th of July. So again, hope everyone had a great 4th of July. And we had an amazing event yesterday with the Heart of Centerville, and only fitting that we're going to have one of the Heart in an interview that was recorded a couple months ago, Heather with Gourmet Apples. We've seen her at a couple events now. The wife tried it, not a big apple fan, but amazing presentation, just a sweet human being. So we will turn it over to that recording right now. All right, guys, welcome to this section of the business portion of Beards in Business. I've got a special guest, a member of the Heart of Centerville. Heather, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Heather Ricola, and I am the owner and manager of Heather's Gourmet Apples in Springboro.
Awesome. So when you say gourmet apples, my mind goes different places, some of them to fairy tales. So tell us a little bit more of what gourmet is and what exactly you do to your apples that make them so special.
We just add the name gourmet so we can charge that much more. No, I'm just kidding. We're totally different. We're totally different than a carnival apple. So you go to a fair, you get a carnival apple. You're going to get a small apple with some caramel on a stick, take a few bites. What we do is we use all Washington Honeycrisp apples, which are a really good quality, also great flavor apple. And then it's with our ingredients. So we use a rich buttery caramel, which we don't share anything about our caramel. And then we crush all the candy toppings ourselves, and we're going to top it with candy bars, nuts, or chocolate. And so it's the quality of the ingredients and the size of the apple that give it the gourmet.
Yeah, so let's solve the debate. Is it caramel or caramel?
I'm from Pennsylvania. It's Caramel, but it's caramel.
Yeah, but if you're from Pennsylvania, I know depending on what part of the state you're from, we say things a little bit different. I'm originally from Philadelphia, so I can't. Most people think I'm a weirdo when I say I need to dry off with a tail.
I get made fun of for how I say bag and soda.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's awesome that we have that in connection. So why apples? I'm assuming that you weren't trying to poison someone and give them an apple. If that is, that's going to be a really cool. I think someone already did a movie about that. But what made you get into gourmet apples? I'm sure there's a million other things that you would be able to excel in. Why did you pick this industry to get into?
Okay, so this was a complete whoopsie-daisy for me. So my background is actually in exercise physiology. I went to Purdue, studied exercise physiology because I like everything about it. But I had zero intention of going into that field. I taught piano for 20 years. And for my students, for piano recitals, I'd make them apples. So when we do our Christmas recital, I'd make them these, jumbo gourmet apples. So a few years ago, money was just a little bit tight, and my kids are wild about Halloween, and they like to make their own Halloween costumes. So to offset the cost of Halloween costumes, I made a Facebook post, sold a few apples. What was supposed to be a couple $100 turned into well over $1,000. And I thought maybe we're onto something. So the next year I got a little bit more intentional with it. And then the next year I got even a little bit more intentional with it. And it just grew very organically. And I dragged my feet for a lot of years till I knew I had something. And then it got so big, we had to open a store or kill it. And so here we are. We opened the store.
That's awesome. I think that there's something special for those small businesses that were hey, money's tight, and especially as we're sitting here filming of, economy's up, economy's down. I don't even know if we have an economy. You go out and you say, look, I got to do something because the family comes first. We've got to find a way to make sure the kids have, a good Christmas, a good Halloween, whatever the case may be. And you create these things. I've talked to many other businesses that have created, and like, it was a Christmas gift idea. I didn't have any money, so I made it. And then it springs into a business and changes your whole trajectory in life, and then also could potentially change generation trajectory. So that's so awesome. So that journey, walk us through how you went from that of, trying to sell a couple to get the kids Halloween costumes to where you are now sitting in your store.
Okay, so 2016 is when we made that Facebook post, and I wasn't thinking forward. I was thinking very, very isolated. So we made a Facebook post. I think we did 3 different varieties of apples, super basic. We were going to deliver them to your house. The way that you see a lot of people start small out of their homes. Hey, we'll come to you, free delivery. And so we made that Facebook post. We sold those apples, and then we shut it down. That was it. It was start and finish. And then the following year, we set up at an event. Christmas in Springboro. And I don't know anything about events. And I kind of I've learned everything the hard way. I've gotten my business education one very expensive lesson at a time. So I had a friend who had a cake shop at Christmas in Springboro, but she was no longer doing that. So I asked to set up in her yard, and I learned the hard way that that's a no-no. Events don't really like you to do that, but we set up in her yard, and I didn't know any different. I didn't have any ill intentions, but we sold, I don't know, between 300 and 600 apples that weekend. And again, it was start and stop. I didn't have any forward thinking on it. And Christmas in Springboro is held right before Thanksgiving. So the festival goes on, we move our apples, and then Thanksgiving comes, and I'm getting contacted for, we want apples for Thanksgiving and we want apples for Christmas. And I didn't have anything to offer them because we weren't thinking forward. We weren't thinking that direction. So that was 2017. So then in 2018, got a little bit more intentional and set up at some events And then it just really, really grew in 2019. I think I asked for a website for Christmas because I like practical gifts. So, and then 2020, February 1st, we opened our doors to our store. And then a few weeks later, COVID hit. And I will say, opening a store with no business background right before COVID, I'm not going to call it a curse. I'm going to call it a blessing because we were already pinching pennies. I didn't have, more than 2 pennies to rub together. And then having COVID hit, it really taught us how to pivot and how to pivot fast. And as a business owner, every day you're going to get hit with problems. And so getting all of those problems so early on makes the rest of the problem seem small. So when my girls call me like they did last night and said, hey, one of the fridges stopped working, it's like, okay, no big thing. Move everything to the other fridges. We'll deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's amazing to where you can get from your battles and crisis set you up for when others think they're crisis, and you're like, okay, one refrigerator's down. Load the one up. We'll figure it out tomorrow. We'll get someone to fix it. To where
Yeah, well, it turns out they tripped a breaker. So we're gonna have a lesson on tripping breakers.
you can eat. But had this been early on, I bet you your mindset would have went to, oh, now we got to buy a new refrigerator. We're gonna lose product. We're gonna lose customers. To where you go through those games and you're like, okay, we'll figure it out, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And I like the stepping process of you didn't really have a clear. You knew your target was you had to get Halloween for the kids. Boom, goal hit. Next, well, let's try it at holiday at Springboro, which I've done once. My wife almost lost her fingers 2 years ago because it was so daggum cold.
Yeah.
One of the craziest events to try to cut your teeth on. Boom, again, start, stop. It's awesome because most people would see that and be like, start, stop. Well, it's going to be me. That's going to be the career. We've kind of burned bridges because we didn't have longevity. But you took that and said, you know what? I'm gonna spin that into something good, which is awesome. So we know you're in the Springboro, Ohio area. Where can people find you if they wanted to buy your delicious apples?
So we can be found. We have a brick and mortar. We're in the Springboro Point Shopping Center. Our address is 253 West Central Avenue. So you can find us there. You can find us online. We do ship. We ship to 48 states at heatherscaramelApples.com. And then we do a lot of events. We do about 40 events a year. And if you've got how many weeks in a year, 52, we're at a lot of events. And so we cover mostly Ohio, but we also do Kentucky. We do Indiana. And we really do stick to this region just because transporting a cold product, we're not interested in going, across the country.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So those are my business questions. Now we're going to get into the fun questions that I kind of gave you a heads up on. So what feeds you besides apples? Because I'm assuming you gotta unless you go the Tony Montana route of never get high on your own supply. So do you partake in your own apples, or do you not get touch your own supply?
I gotta get pretty hungry to eat one of my apples. If the mood strikes, I'm gonna go for a pecan dark chocolate because that's my favorite. But it's kind of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not touching that unless I am really, really hungry.
Gotcha. See, I'm the complete opposite. I use my products every day. So I get sidetracked. That's all squirrel run by my window. What feeds you? For me, I can't consume enough audiobooks. I can't be in enough networking sessions to learn from those that have been there. What is it that helps feed you? And if applicable, an example that you would recommend?
I like to play. So that's what feeds me. So I spent my 30s running marathons. And so I ran my first marathon when I was 30. I ran my last marathon when I was 40. And then that's when the business took off. So I just transferred my marathon energy into the business. And I just turned 45 last week. So I'd like to get back to marathons. I'm a 50-state runner. I'm 22 states in, and do the math. I've got a few states to go. So that's what drives me. Getting up every day early, working out. I need to be working out. I need to be working out socially. So that's my big driver. Audiobooks. I love audiobooks too. I love to read. I like to listen. I like to read. You mentioned networking. I am an extreme introvert. So I'm going to avoid those networking events at all costs. And I've gone to them and I've checked the boxes, and people know I'm probably going to sit there and crochet, which is what I did at the last chamber event. I sat there with the mayor and with the chamber president, and I crocheted a blanket, so I didn't have to talk to people.
That's one way. Maybe that's just a thing, because my wife was the same way. If we went anywhere, she'd shove me through the door first, and then kind of hide behind me, and she'd sit there and crochet. I mean, she crochets so much crazy stuff. I've got a blanket that's probably 10 feet, with the soldier profile on it that she did from her retirement. So maybe that's something for you guys to like not interact. Like, don't talk to me. I'm sitting here. Uh,
Well, I'm working on a Taylor Swift Eras blanket for my 12-year-old daughter. And if you know how many eras there are, there's 10. And then she just announced a new album, and of course she wants that color on there. So I don't think this blanket's ever going to be finished. I got to finish it before she releases another album.
you can always give it to her as a wedding gift.
Yeah, she's 12.
So I want to pull a question out of your marathon. So you're taking the energy and effort and the training, and you kind of tied that back in your business, put the marathon on hold, and now you're at a place to where you can kind of do both. What was so far? You did 20 states. What was your favorite, most memorable marathon so far?
Oh, I don't know if I can answer that. Oh, that's a great question, because I've done the big cities. I've done Chicago, I've done Boston, but then I've done you know what? I'm gonna say right at the end, I did my first trail marathon, which was in North Carolina. It was Black Mountain Marathon, and you could do a 40 miler, or you could just do the marathon, which is, the 26. But you run up and down a mountain, and there's something different about trail running and the trail runners, and it's a much more relaxed environment, and it's nice. The runners are nice, whereas the road runners are very, very competitive, and they're nice, they're fine. But I like the trails. So, but I ended with that was my last marathon, was a trail marathon. So I'm going to say probably, that was one of my best experiences. But then you have Boston with everybody, and it's such a high. It's like a rock concert, and you can't get enough of it. And you're just on the high for weeks.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm not a runner. Thanks to my uncle. When I was in the military, I had an injury to where I can't run, but I did the Tunnels of Tower. It was only 3 miles, but I did that, and that's such an experience of being around that group of people when they're running for an event to honor firefighter. It's so cool. So I can only imagine when you're running in a marathon, how, of course you want to be competitive, but it takes a lot of guts to make that long. I can't even walk that far, let alone try to run it. Even when I was in my prime, maybe when I was in my prime, I could have. So converse that before we move on to the next. So what is the one state that you're looking forward to you did 20, so public school math, I think we're still at 50 states. We haven't included anyone new. You've got 30 to go. What is the one state that you're looking forward to running in next?
That's a great question. Maybe Alaska. I don't know. I got to get my training back up before I can tackle anything like that. But I'd like to finish the New England states, and I know that Maine. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up here. Maine and New Hampshire, I believe, have back-to-back marathons on a weekend in October. And I'm really, and one will be on Saturday, one will be on Sunday. And I did that once. And your body's capable of pretty cool things. And I think I'm looking forward to that the most. I want to see that I can get those back-to-back states again.
It's interesting because I would think that a marathon, you would run from the tip of one state all the way through to the other because they're very itty bitty. But I'm not really good with geography. So my favorite question, you don't have to put the outfit on. We don't have to get on a Navy ship. But if you could be Cher and turn back time, what would you tell Heather, whether it's personal, professional, 3, 5, 10 years? What would be that one thing that you would tell young Heather that could change the trajectory of where things are?
I think I would tell young Heather. So I'm rereading The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Flip. I've read it. I'm rereading it. It's a great book. I'm going to suggest it to any entrepreneur. I think I would have said, hey, read me when you're 20 So you don't have to wait till you're 40 to figure out your confidence. I think that's what I would have said. I would have taken that book and said, read this and ingest it.
See, I thought you were going to say you'd go back in time and say, don't start a Taylor Swift blanket.
Now I'm having fun with that.
That's good advice there too. So my favorite and always gets me on the edge of my seat. We're going to reverse roles. The show and the floor is now yours. You can go anywhere you want if you've got anything that you want to add, if you want to ask any questions, or if you want to just say thank you so much. It is now yours. So take it away.
I don't know, maybe advice to other entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs. I know, like, I've got a kid in college, and I've got another kid prepping for college, and then I've got another child who's still in junior high. But I think these kids, go out with the intent of being entrepreneurs, and they think they need this class, and they think they need this class, and they think they need this class. And I think what they really need, and I've talked to high school kids before, is go to bed early, get up early, establish your workout routine, and eat healthy. And if you've got the energy to go hard, and the rest will figure itself out. Because if you think you need that math class, and maybe you do need that math class, or maybe you can just hire that out. My dad was a math and physics major, and he passed none of that on to me. I don't do any of my own math because I don't want to. But they don't tell you that in high school, and they don't tell you that in college. But when you do go out and you start that business, find out what it is that you like, do that, and then find the right people and hire the rest out.
That's such an amazing answer, and what a great way. I'm thinking that as I look literally up above the webcam, there are 6 different pieces of paper hanging on the wall. I've got 2 associates, a bachelor's, and 3 masters. And have I used a little bit of what I learned? Sure. I didn't just dump it all. But the one thing that I got, that is the most important thing that taught me, was my just hard knock life. That is I think that's underestimated. Of get out there and fail, fail,
Yep.
forward, learn. So that's such an amazing point to close on. So hopefully kids are listening and go, yep, I can do that. Not saying college is good or bad, but get out there and get your hands dirty and learn a trade, or just, fail forward. That's how success happens. So anything else you'd like to say before we close it out?
I don't think so. I appreciate you. Thanks. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And to the audience, thank you for making it to this point in this episode. We'll go ahead and turn it over to me here in a second, and we'll close it out. So thank you so much. All right, guys. What a great interesting story. And most people, apples, when you can make them that good, and wife loved the samples that she had. And again, it's about community. So that's where we're kind of focusing. The heart of Centerville is a nice community. We're trying to build this beard community. We started a couple days ago. Today's now day 5 at 12 o'clock every day on our social media. We are dropping a military veteran theme, again, to build that community. So folks, buying a product is great, because that actually puts a dollar in my pocket, that we're able to use for the business. But just as important is hitting the subscribe, the like, and commenting on these videos, watching these videos, sharing them with your friends, building that way, going to our social media, dropping a like picture, whatever, interacting with us. That's almost as good as buying something. So guys, please, I encourage you to go over to our Facebook, our LinkedIn, our Instagram, interact with us, follow if you're not, like, share, comment, post, be interactive with us, and then definitely like, share, comment here on these videos. So we've got a little bit of slow time, July. We don't have many events right now. The end of July is when we're really going to rev it up. As soon as the last weekend of July, we're going to be kicking in full gear with Dayton Celtic Fest. That's going to be a 3-day event. We will put more information out as we get closer, as far as links and all that stuff. But you could always find that in the events, which is already up on our website. And then to hear the latest and greatest news, you should subscribe. If you haven't already, go to the bottom of our website, whiskermen.com. If you scroll all the way down, put your email in, boom, you're in. We are sending out a monthly newsletter and then weekly reminders as needed, not every single week, but we'll send you a reminder of where we're going to be at. So that is it for this episode of Beards in Business. We look forward to seeing you guys real soon and hope you have a great weekend. And as always, if you can't support our veterans, our first responders, and our military, if you can't get behind those folks, feel free to get in front of them. Until next time.